All right, so let's get started. First of all, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend. I know we gave you two fantastic reasons to attend. We have André Reitenbach from Gcore, what I consider the strongest startup, if I can call this a startup, we'll come back to it. And my idol for many, many years already, Xavier. I liked him already 25 years ago, but he gained all my respect, unconditional respect, when I saw him, for people who are passionate about technique and tech, when Kim.com was doing mega upload. You remember this fantastic video? Yes. Mega upload. And then, you know, there was FBI, there was a lot of shit. Well, what did he do? He took a plane, and I found him in the media meeting Kim.com, and he brought Mega, under that new name, Mega, back to Luxembourg, and he was using terabytes of our own data center. So that's when I said, wow, this is the real thing. So thank you very much. Quick update about Stripes. We are about to celebrate the first anniversary. Time flies. I'll let you judge if it was good or not good. You know, I think maybe you saw my post on LinkedIn. We failed because the goal was to inspire the government, especially to implement some accountability. Long story short, it did not work. So it doesn't matter. We will continue to try to share the stories of people who know what entrepreneurship is, what a good culture is. For the second year, we'll need to talk together through the next events. I think what we should do is establish the accountability by ourselves. So you know, I booked accountability.lu a year ago. If there are volunteers, we're looking for two types of partners. Data miners, who will help us set a few KPIs and collect them every month. I give you an example. If you want banking, it's on CSSF's newsletter at the last page. So we can do it manually. And we need to find such KPIs, and then we will publish them, not just one, but every month. And I need somebody who's really good at visualizing data.
AI.
Yes, hired. So we will just make it look sexy so that citizens can go there and learn about the real size of finance, accountability in public services, you know, all the things that we are all passionate about. So that's all for Stripes. I would like to let Sylvia talk a little bit about the updates too.
So last event we had, Splash, was a big success at the Moselle. You can find videos. We had this fantastic aerial video made with a drone. Awesome experience. The next event is going to be a treat. We are going to do an event on the 18th of November. It's going to be, the title is going to be How to Be a Journalist in Luxembourg. And we are preparing big names. Can't reveal them yet, but it's going to be a good one. As always, trying to get the accountability subject on the table. So I will leave you now to our guests. Thank you again for attending.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your very important work at Stripes. So let's jump right into it. I will just let my guests present themselves in a few seconds. So, André, can you just tell your story in a few words?
Yeah, thank you. My name is André Reitenbach. I'm CEO and co-founder of Gcore. I came here 2014, and the company is already 11 years old, and our business is to provide edge services across the globe, secure AI, CDN, compute, streaming, and also private services around AI. We do roughly
And just to illustrate, because he's very humble, when you upgrade your Microsoft software, you're involved.
Yes.
When you are on TikTok, you can be involved. So it's kind of a massive success story. And as always in Luxembourg, a discrete one. but we are counting, so 150 million ARR, annual recurring revenue, and growing. Xavier, can you also tell us your entrepreneurship odyssey?
Yes, so my name is Xavier Bach. I started my entrepreneurship 25 years ago. And I started by creating Data Center Luxembourg, so ISPs, hosting servers. Back then there was a Luxembourg's advantage on VAT by hosting e-commerces and so on, so I benefited from that. And then the journey went through domain registration, where I created EuroDNS. We went and we bought quite a few registrars throughout Europe that I still own, like a dozen, and also even all the way up to Australia. So by owning domain registrar and hosting companies, even now in Germany we bought hosting.de, and so on. And this led me, by this knowledge of all these domain registrations throughout the world, led me to cybersecurity now with eBrand, where we can detect in real time when attacks, phishing attacks are being built up, and by knowing exactly what's happening in the domain world, SSL world, and other passive DNS, and so on. So we are now fully heading towards cybersecurity, which is now a fantastic journey to go to.
So you see two gigantic entrepreneurs, different trajectories.
Turnover-wise, so we are reaching now an entire group around 50 million turnover. We are not growing as fast as André with AI. André is now making leaps, but still. And but I bootstrapped it all the way through, so I nearly have no external investors. So I was lucky to always reinvest a lot and to grow it by myself.
And what's interesting is you were for a long time the lone entrepreneur, just the entrepreneur. I remember I introduced you to Mangrove many years ago. And you managed to go on the other side. Now you're a lot involved on the investor side. I
used to be quite active as business investor, as business angel in Luxembourg during a period of time. But I realized that it takes quite a lot of time and then to help them. So now I'm actually, for instance, with Expand Capital, DTF or other funds, I'm actually then more helping them and then as direct business angel.
Perfect.
Actually, my first meeting was in Luxembourg with Xavier because we looked for a data center, and it was one of the opportunities.
And unfortunately, we didn't get them. None.
Yeah, so you see how everything's converging: data centers, AI, processing power.
But we are going to work a lot together in future.
Yes,
really a lot. We have now a lot of synergies with AI and cyber. It's really amazing what's coming up.
So one question everybody's thinking about is, why did you choose Luxembourg? I will ask you too, but it sounds more intuitive, but why Luxembourg?
It was actually a good question. In my opinion, Luxembourg did a great job back then because there was a program. We met some representative from Luxembourg in London because one of my first projects was to build gaming cloud. Before AI came, there was a big thing to stream games out of a cloud. And we had a meetup with NVIDIA, with a couple of startups to build it. And there I met actually representative from Luxembourg. He said, hey, come to Luxembourg. It's a ICT program. You have special regime. You have you're middle of Europe, low latency data centers, type 4 data centers. And you have for short passes to ministries to make things happen. So we bought it. And then
it was 2014, huh?
2013. Actually, 2012.
When gaming was still a big thing here.
There are two things that were actually good. So that was at I think period where Mega came. So we had the problem of bandwidth that we solved because we had a problem that the bandwidth, internet bandwidth, were not strong enough in Luxembourg.
Yes.
And when wargaming came, actually, we managed then to deblock that and with Mega, and the latency in gaming, the latency is the milliseconds when you play, when you shoot on somebody in order that you shoot, right, is very important. So for the gaming industry, Luxembourg became very interesting on the milliseconds because we are the center of London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
Okay.
We are the center heart of where the traffic goes to the east, to the south, and to the north, and so
distance was
for gaming it was good. And we had IP boxes. Unfortunately, we lost the IP boxes, advantages around IP, and that attracted this kind of companies.
So you meet them in London 2013,
well, 13,
and what's next?
When we tried it actually, just on data center, it was not that much because back then people used DSL. The connection was not big enough. Yeah. You had latency challenges and as well you had data center challenges because already then we experienced that if you pull GPUs in the data center, it requires a lot of power. So you cannot use regular racks, you need like 20 kilowatt. And this was back then something really special. It was HPC world. So the use case didn't work out because usually you pay for game streaming, I don't know, $15 per month. And if you have a server for 40, 50K in a data center with high density where power costs like 300 euro per kilowatt per month, 10 times more, it doesn't work. And we tried it and we eventually stopped it, but we met there actually Luxembourg, and I moved then from Vienna to Luxembourg, and we started this venture and started the company from here because the data center was great, connectivity was great, and it was easy to relocate people. And we had a good support at this, for this momentum. And we had, when we looked around, we had not really many options in Europe for that purpose. So it was a good choice.
So you know, I like to ask direct questions. So if you were starting today and not 10 years ago or 11 years ago, which country would you choose? He's Luxembourger. He's not allowed to go anywhere, but which country would you choose? Would Luxembourg be considered as a possible viable option?
Let me put it that way. It depends what you want to achieve. So if you want to have a European hub, this is definitely a place to consider. Mm-hmm. If you look to build a disruptive business with access to venture capital and everything, I will probably look on a broader scale. Mm-hmm. But let's say for an operational company with a go-to-market to Europe, with an aspect for sovereignty, Luxembourg is definitely one of the good choices.
That was a very good answer. So I can ask you still the question. You are Luxembourger, so it sounds like a natural choice, but what made you stay? I mean, you could have moved some operations far away.
Luxembourg, especially when we created EuroDNS. So EuroDNS is registration of domain names of all extension of all Europe and afterwards of the entire world. The advantage is you need support for all the languages. You start to have questions coming in from all the countries in different languages. So there, Luxembourg is a big advantage. And being Luxembourg, of course, the advantage is to be close to politics. So to have, actually, it's your back is covered. So that you can risk more things. You can go on, and you know that you are not going to be hit immediately by tax administration or whatever. So you have your connection. So that as Luxembourg, that helps for sure. But a good example, what André just said, is the reasons why Ferrero or Amazon is here is really for the back office. So that is really the multilingual, everything that admin, legal, marketing is thanks to the languages and the competence of the people in Luxembourg is what Luxembourg is strong at and will continue to be strong at.
Very good. I have to say, we called recently EuroDNS, and it's a very, very well-respected client service.
Now with eBrand, so with the cybersecurity, so we keep the core here in Luxembourg, all the entire legal, the admin, everything, but the account managing, because we are going after enterprise customers. So EuroDNS was B2C and then B2 to small and medium company. Now we go after enterprise customer. So enterprise, there we open the local offices in the big cities to have the account managers in the cities. That's not possible otherwise. But the core and the back office out of Luxembourg is perfect.
Very good. So next question, I think I'll take a step back, because every time I have conversation with both of you, I'm completely shocked. We had lunch recently and you were telling me things I had never heard about. And for Xavier, it's even worse, because I think you told me like 12 years ago that I should buy Bitcoin when it was like 350 euro. And I thought it was too expensive, because 3 weeks before it was 200. So I have bad feelings here. I'm biased.
I did the same
and look at the grin on his face. He bought them.
No. I did a mistake. It was one of the first conferences in 2012 in London. I came out of this conference, it's the best technology that exists, and they said I missed it. It went from $3 to $12, and I said, damn it, I missed it.
Yeah. So I would like you to give us just one strong example about how AI and the cloud, basically generalization, is changing the world. Just think about one big way where things we know will be very different. I give you 5 or 6 seconds, and meanwhile you guys can think about the smart question that you will ask when we are done. So do you have a good example? Who wants to start?
It's more AI, so it's more for André, but I have my ideas on it. But the cloud is now already nearly an old word compared to AI word, so we are already out of date. So
let's start with André. How do you see something changing massively through AI?
The thing is, and also to go to the question how important it is, and in my opinion, if you ask yourself how important it is to have electricity and have control about production of electricity and have control about technology, I mean, you need to have the whole value chain be capable to rebuild it, control it, and extend it, because this is where the value creation is moving to, and it's inevitable. And the thing is, most of the people probably overestimate the impact of things short term, but they underestimate the long term impact. And in AI, we had all about discussion, ChatGPT and all of these chatbot models, but the AI go way deeper into the things, and we will see soon a lot of use cases appearing, and they're all going to be fueled by AI, by models. There will be a specialization of those models moving from ChatGPT approach to agentic AI. It's happening already, where you have agent or producing stuff or executing things, increasing dramatically the productivity. You need to understand how it works. You need to be capable to create it, and you need to be able to replicate it, because this will create wealth for all of us. And it's important that we have all things needed here, and we need to fuel it and help startups and companies to have it in place. And this next thing going to be the physical AI, where you have the agentic AI connected to the physical devices, all kind of devices, which is, and we discussed about it, will be in the beginning so-called brownfield installations, where we will have environments like factories, where you have a humanoid robots just using the way you understand to produce stuff. But the next stage going to be robotics and devices which are built around a use case. It will probably not humanoid. It will be all kind of devices, smart devices, IoT, cars, drones, mix of it, small, big, ultra big, and then it will be all controlled and fueled by AI. So if we don't have this knowledge and capable to replicate as quickly as possible, we will definitely have to use someone's technology, and we will have to follow. And in my opinion, for Luxembourg, because we are a small country, it's necessary, because it's a chance for us to double down on this technology, because it will dramatically increase the productivity of the country and dramatically increase the wealth, because something we cannot control is the amount of human people in the country. I mean, we can scale just to a certain degree, but with AI we can, by orders of magnitude, increase it, and then we can be so competitive, so much more competitive than anyone else. And we really need to establish ourselves like I don't know, the countries like Singapore or Dubai, or like we're trying to create a center of knowledge and attract companies, people, and money in some specific degree. And we should definitely double down on it.
And I can give an example maybe on this. You were talking about brownfield, is when, you correct me if I'm wrong, when you start applying AI to an existing, for example, factory, and greenfield is when you start from scratch. So basically you could have now factories being built where the roof is much lower, because you don't have so many humans in it. It's mostly robots working together. And of course, suddenly the efficiency, the cost of operation drops down. You could do it by layers. This is what he has in mind. So it's just things we don't know at all. Imagine factories without human, where you have layers of production one on top of the other. Is this right?
Yes, there's even no light, because people need light. Robots don't need light. They need to have different sensors. And then just another example, here we have servants who are just serving drinks, because it's like built around a humankind, 1.80 meters, and then he's walking with two legs. The future cafe or a restaurant will be different, because the robot will probably serve it from the top, or it will appear on your table, and then you don't need this way experience. Maybe you will have this experience, but there will be new experiences, and then this we have to prepare ourselves.
So there will be society-wise a big void, a big gap. So everything that's even web designer or low-level legal or low-level programmer, taxi driver, will be simply obliterated, will be disappeared. I have, even with my hosting companies, I have to be afraid and aware that normal registration for a baker, a domain name that somebody wants to register for a new bakery, his website and a domain name and create a website, will probably go completely aside my companies. It will be on AI. He will ask, what is the best available domain name for my new bakery or for my new service that I'm creating? And then the AI will tell him which are the available domain names, and the AI will ask him, should I do the registration for you? Should I build the website for you? And should I host it for you? And so it might go completely fast. So same goes for web design company, for accounting companies, for small business accounting, from and so many things. So it's going to disrupt us completely. But on the other hand, everything that's enterprise level, no enterprise, no big corp will give that an AI to manage. And the same for legal. So the very high level legal and the very high level design or e-commerce development and so on. So education problem is that low level education people will be lost, and the high level education, they will cash in a lot. So there will be such a void and a gap, it's going to be crazy, and we need to adapt and be ready for that.
I see, when you talk with people who are that knowledgeable, suddenly you start understanding what you did not understand, but you didn't even know that you did not understand it. So, next question, we talk about sovereignty a lot, especially cybersecurity, especially infrastructure. Some people could say about social media, who knows? So how do you think Luxembourg can play a role, and especially Luxembourg-based companies? Who starts? You want to start? On the sovereignty.
On the sovereignty. So sovereignty is actually for us a very good thing. So for especially when you go to cyber or to hosting or co-location, and you see like Trump, how he was negotiating for his tariffs. Imagine he would say, now you pay 35%, otherwise we cut all your Gmails and all your Microsoft access to your email. Well, we don't have access. So we have to accept the 35% tariff, or we are, all Europe is. So sovereignty is something that is going to be more and more important. So we see how the world is going to be split up, and how Europe sees how we are dependent and fragile we are. So that's really good thing. And for our companies, and especially, I don't want to take your cards away, but in AI it's even more important. But for us in the domain registration, in the hosting, and where the servers are, where we host for our customers, we bought hosting.de, and then we created our hosting.fr. Now we are trying, actually I cannot say, we're negotiating to buy hosting.nl. And that even country-wise, they are going to want to be in their country and to make sure. So sovereignty is for us a very important aspect, and we love it. So it's actually an advantage for us, and we play that card.
What about you, André?
Yeah, I mean, always spoke about sovereignty. Day one, people said, okay, it doesn't make sense. All of the hyperscalers will blow out the ship out of the water if they want, and they have enough lobby. And sovereignty was always certification, and then it was always usually, I will not say, in every sovereign activity, there was always hyperscalers on the table and said, yeah, we certify for sovereignty. But how can you certify for sovereignty if you are not sovereign? I mean, there's whatever act which give access to all your data if needed, and we see it happening already. So it's important. Sovereignty is not only have the equipment on the place, you need to have the full stack sovereignty, including the decision power in the legislation, in the HQ, in the country, because nobody can come and ask you, because it's a sovereign act, to ask you to have access to all of the data of the customer. So at least it will be European, and this is really important. And since a couple of years, people started to take it seriously, because I mean Microsoft and Amazon and Google, they have their so-called sovereign product, where they send it and have a dark set installation. Some countries have this, and the thing is, having, I don't know, to create an analogy, having a shop for the cars doesn't make you a car producer. You just sell cars, and the cars, the knowledge to build and produce and sell the cars in some other place. So you really need to have a control about the software, about how the things are happening there, because if you have this black box, and you will stop receiving updates, and or somebody will send you an update which will kill the installations, and you're done. Your data is lost. So you will really need full access and capability also from the government to enforce access to this data. And this can be only done if you have the whole value chain in one place. And Luxembourg has it. So we really need to support such companies. It's not about the cloud, it's about the software, it's about the people, everything. And you need to collect the knowledge, train the people, because if you have this, then it will attract new talents to work on it, and slowly will grow the ecosystem. And if you see in Asia and in US, top 10 companies are the most expensive ones, because this is where the value happens. And why should we give it away? We should have it. And not only as Luxembourg, but as Europe. And in my opinion, we have all the ingredients in the country, and we can do it. And I can say even more, because we're going to GTEx. We have right now a new initiative in the company, and we're building so-called a private cloud AI, where we have a full stack, And right now we have a queue of customers across the globe, including US, who want us to install the software stack to make this GPUs work and manageable in an easy manner, because this is actually where everyone, even in other countries, they're concerned about the data, because every data, even if it's in the country, is exposed to AI. It scraps every second, every minute all your data and trains, and you lose your resource. So they ask us to give them the software stack so they can control the data with the software stack and not expose it to public clouds. And really big companies from Europe and from US gonna use software made in Luxembourg. It's gonna be massive, and it is already massive. I just cannot speak about the brands of those companies, but those companies are the biggest one in Europe and also in Middle East and also in US.
And it's important to say that if you were in Paris at Vivatech and you watched the presentation from the CEO of NVIDIA, he showed the partners on the screen and you could see Gcore on it. So there was a Luxembourgish company presented by NVIDIA in Paris. Why we don't talk about it, I don't know, but at least you're here today to set the record clear. Let's talk a bit about scaling, and I would like to know which changes as a CEO you need to do when you're growing. And of course, we talk about organizational changes, but also cultural. Maybe you want to start? How are you locating yourself on the scaling thing? Are you constantly scaling?
I can give you examples. It's really most of the trickiest part when you grow from 1 people to 10 people to 50 to 80 to 300. There's always a critical moment where things stopping to work, and then you need to reinvent the whole company, build layers without having too much of layers of managers, so that it doesn't stop work. Because at some point of time, you have meetings between managers to manage managers and to manage processes, and you will totally lose efficiency. And it's a trick. I mean, it's probably for every company. So I mean, we are right now about 550 people. We had a momentum in time in the company. We've been almost about 800 people. And it was almost a crisis. We had to cut it down and then to restructure it to be more efficient. And right now, especially also with AI, we can do many things in a more efficient way, but we will still hire people. And there's no magic button. Everyone has to figure out around the culture. And how we achieved it, we're breaking the team in smaller teams that it's controllable. And every team has enough flexibility to make decisions within the team.
Okay. So very lean, but clear, I would say.
We believe that, we have a culture. We have not a strong leadership culture. We're trying to be as flat as possible, and the decision is quite transparent, and everyone can speak to everyone and make decisions as efficient as possible in the environment. And I believe this is a good approach. We're going to see.
What about you, Xavier?
This is what he said, so the pyramid, that's what they call the founder syndrome, when the founder, the small startup, and he has problem to delegate and to let go. So that's one of the biggest problems of many startups. So I luckily learned quite fast that let go, and you have to accept that things are not done as well as you would do it. And later you are sometimes surprised that sometimes they're even done better than yours, but that's much later normally. No, so actually you go from really, when you grow, you have to decentralize, and it goes decentralized about functions, about products, about regions. So you have to decentralize on different manners, but you have other things that you need to keep centralized, especially things like culture. You have to come in with structured things that you can duplicate, because otherwise everybody does on his own, and then it's really chaos. So you need to come up with, I learned that from an investment I did in the US, how they do it, and to like storybooks for sellers. So they have really storybooks, what if the potential leads answer this, and you have to answer this, and so on. You come up with really storybooks on how to do it. So you must be able to do things that you can replicate by keeping still the same culture. That you understand the culture, and then the other things that you are able to duplicate and then to grow, but it's always a challenge.
Yes, and there's also one important piece is what, at least in our company, we learned. You have to make sure that you hire the best people, and then entrepreneurially minded people or the founder minded people. The more people you have in your team, the better it's for the company, you have always reached those good people, explore something and go and make their own startup. So we let top people to participate on company success, and we also help them if they decide to do something, to let them do what they want to do, and we support them on this journey. And if you have exceptional people, you lead probably less people, and the result is also good. And especially now with AI, we have right now, requirement that everyone has to use AI. If you don't use AI, you slow down the company. And we do it in a positive manner, but every new hire, the first question about AI. And it was a funny thing because we hired a couple of developers and we asked them, do you use AI? Show me how you use AI. And he said, wow, because in other companies, he had to make sure that by doing the exercise, they don't use AI. I said, this is a different way, because why shouldn't you use something which increase your productivity? You should do it.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the tricks.
Yeah, and the faster you grow, you have the problem that you open new countries and you open now US or UK. So you are very picky on the first persons that you hire to make to sales, etc. And then you are measuring and said, okay, wow, he got positive, so return on investment is after 6 months. And so, but afterwards, when you would want to deploy more, it doesn't work always 6 months. When you are very picky, unfortunately later you are less picky. And in your calculation, you have to take return on investment is 10 months or 12 months. You will not be able to keep that 6 months return on investment.
Again, letting go a little bit on the original model. Let's talk about money. I know that in your case you work in AI, and you know headhunters all over the world are offering wild prices for anybody competent in AI. So I'm sure it's a challenge. But let's talk about raising money. So first of all, do you do it in Luxembourg or abroad? Do you see a future in fundraising in Luxembourg? Because you called about the value chain. Well, on fundraising, we're not the best in Europe, I guess. No?
Well, the thing is, we are probably not a typical startup. And when we came 2014, there was nothing in Luxembourg related startup programs or startup hubs. We came already as a bootstrapping company with a profitable business and started to build immediately on the back of client orders. So we been like a mix of product and service company. And we started to raise the capital about 2021. And if we would raise at 21, it will be great because we had 22 and then everything went down. It was not possible to raise capital. We had in the meantime a couple of mergers approaches. And as a scale up, we immediately, and we had a support from advisors, we went immediately to London, or we had meetings with US, because from my experience so far, if you want to raise serious money, you should go at least to London, because this is where most of the VC and PE firms sitting. Then you can find at least someone who makes decisions in this environment. Or ideally, I would even recommend to go to US, because this is where you get money faster, more, and with less long due diligence. I can give you an example, because we had second round, or we call it A2, because our A round was 60, probably for some companies already around C, around D. So it was our A round, and we spent 6 months on due diligence, and even when we almost signed, they always ask, okay, give me another month and another month and another month. You're killing the business, because I have to do the order, signing the contract, give me the money now. And then they really impacted in a negative way as a company. And finally, we had a strategic investor who came and gave us money immediately, and it saved us. And right now we went from kind of a complicated situation, because everyone knows GPU business is a tricky one. So we went back, and now we're doubling the numbers.
Very good. What about you?
Yes, for me a little bit different, but still I want to stress out that Luxembourg, as you said, was nowhere when Andre came. But meanwhile, we have luckily the government for the startups, since they did quite a few things with Fit for Start. Expon was not there, now Expon is there. But Expon is a good example, because even Expon, when they are all the investments they invested in, many did the second round, and none of these rounds they found investors in Luxembourg. They always found Expon even found for their investment they did in their structures, they found investment of main leaders for the Series A in next country. But now our good, nice Minister of Finance, Mr. Gilles came out in March, and he announced that he has now 300 million for scale-up. So there I'm now really curious what's going to come. So Lux Innovation is supposed to announce a little bit the program now soon, what's coming up, and that SNCI has 300 million for the next 5 years. Sure, I'm a little bit curious what if it's real or if it's just PR. Let's see what's coming there. And for me, luckily, I had already I created really a lot of companies. I only listed a few ones. So I did already 2 nice exits on Open Registry and Domain Tools, a US company where I was involved. And that helped to grow. And all this return on that I got from these nice exits helped me then to do acquisitions around EuroDNS in Europe and to continue to grow my business.
Yeah, and it also depends because, for example, our business is heavy capex or capex intensive. So, and if you see our competition, because probably 90% of our competition is sitting overseas, and even 300 million is not big enough for one single company if you really want to make the difference. So we have only choice between focusing on the software because the margin situation is better. You don't need that much of the money. Or, and especially in this AI race, you really need to go where the deep pockets are sitting. One example, I cannot name will not name the company, but they were friends or partners. And they started in Europe and in Amsterdam. They pitched the European story, nothing happened. And then they went overseas and immediately started to raise 1 billion after another, went to IPO. And right now they're about 25 billion on stock price, and it's just disrupting everything. And then it's just crazy to see because ultimately what they do is they're pumping the top line and they're still losing money. But I mean, on the promise that they're gonna create 600% growth, everyone is, wow, it's crazy PE, but PE with expectation towards the growth. They say, wow, it's 700 growth next year. So and everyone just drops the money. They just raised yesterday with the help of Goldman Sachs 4 billion of debt convertible. It's amazing. It's a success story. It will be not possible in Europe. Nobody will give them that much of money. And if you see like Oracle deal with 300 billion, I mean, those stories you see there, that's the scale you need in this business.
That's crazy. So my last question will be, where do you see your company and Luxembourg in 5 years? That's when you say a growth of 9,000%, so that people start throwing money. No, just kidding. So where do you see it in 5 years? Gcore first.
So we definitely want to go IPO. We will have to find a way to scale the money through strategic partners or ourselves. We're definitely going to double down on this private AI, and then we believe in agentic AI cloud because the future going to be in a cloud that the agent's going to execute everything. So we want to be a top player in this business and build intelligent grid with agentic AI, and we build all the foundation. It's a bit ahead of the curve. It's going to happen probably in 2-3 years from now, and we want to be top player there.
And where will you list?
So that's a good question. We're going to come to this question when it happens, but so far the big money is not in Europe.
What about you? How do you see your group in 5 years?
So I was much more focused in the past on B2C, and what I just explained before with the AI threat coming. So I will focus is really going to be enterprise focus. And especially eBrand now has potential within 2 years to be much bigger as everything I have grown so far. So we are really now focusing on everything that's cyber, detecting the threats. AI is making that every day there are new threats happening. We saw the Bill case and a few more, and and there is really now the focus. And we have an expertise of 25 years, a unique position, because not only when you detect that an attack is being built, we have 25 experience where we know every registrar, every hosting company, every registry. So you must, our takedown team, so it means we have the people who detect it, but you must be able then to send the right email or the right phone call to make sure it's not going out. And you can only do that if you have to know the people on the other side. So we are in a unique position to become world leader in something amazing and to grow amazing. So I think eBrand can become the next SAS for Luxembourg actually within 5 years.
And I believe cybersecurity definitely going to be a big thing for Luxembourg. This is one of these things we want to collaborate because we can accumulate our resources and knowledge to build really something exceptional, especially because Luxembourg has a strategy to double down on cyber defense. And this is going to be probably one of the most important things worldwide. People underestimate still thinking about the future wars happening with physical devices, but it will be actually happening to a big extent in cyberspace, and it's already happening. And agentic AI, it's going to be built for good, but it also can be used for other things. And AI is getting so much smarter, so much knowledgeable about us. Every time we post something on TikTok, everywhere expose data about us, post pictures about our family, about what we like when we go to shop. This device, phone, and whatever listen to us, see us, and at some point of time, it will be smart enough to social engineer us and then make us make some decision. We don't even know that we want to make a decision. And this cyber protection will go from internet also in the physical space. Otherwise, you will end up shopping everywhere and spending all your money because the AI cracked your algorithm and then make you things to do you don't like. So really, it's going to come to space, and it will be also a big requirement also from nation, also from governments, to make sure they can protect the citizens. And it starts and ends with cybersecurity in AI. And it will be infinite demand, because there will be, like in cybersecurity, there will be always growing threats, and you have to protect yourself. It will be a permanent fight between good and bad, and we need to be prepared, and we have all of the ingredients for that.
That could be a great opportunity. The number which we need to work on in Luxembourg, if we want to get more data centers, is electricity. We still import 79% of our own electricity, so this is a bottleneck for us, but I know we're working on it. There's a lot of investment right now. Thank you for taking the time, and good luck for the next year. We are all rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.